Hello everyone, welcome to the Lalafell's Guide to Jim, the samurai in sheep's clothing. In this guide we're going to show you how to complete the Jim encounter as any Lalafell under any role. Please be advised that this guide is for Lalafell only. No big people need apply. Dwarves are under consideration at this time for whether or not they can use this guide, so please wait for further information before we go into detail there. Before we start going over the mechanics of the fight, there are a few rules that you in general want to follow. Number 1, as a Lalafell, you're going to have to tell all the big people to get out of the way. They're just taking up space and making it really difficult for you just to see the mechanics with their such large sizes. Rule number 2, the boss needs to be tanked in the middle of the room for the majority of the encounter. This makes it a lot easier for the Lalafell to get a view of the entire room. And since the Lalafell are priority number 1, this is pretty much a mandatory requirement. At the start of the fight, there's only 2 mechanics that we need to go over. The first one is an Inoshikacho, in which 4 butterflies will come out of nowhere because you can't see them. As a Lalafell, you're too short. But they'll come down in the middle of the room about where all the players are and drop an AoE. You simply need to get out of the way. You might need to take additional time as a Lalafell since it takes us longer times to run from point A to B because we have the short little legs. The second ability that you need to worry about is Metagiri, which is simply just a room-wide AoE. You're going to take damage, and then you're going to heal it up. As a Lalafell, you're pretty much immune to all damage always and forever. You can never die, and you can never do no wrong, so you can pretty much just ignore this happening. Alright, here's where things get crazy. Yojimbo will run to the middle of the room, which he should already be there because your tank is caring about those Lalafells and tanking him in the middle of the room. And he is going to go into the ground, and everyone's just going to be wondering what's happening. But this is where it gets crazy. He comes back as Greg. Like we thought we were fighting Jim, but it was Greg the whole time. This is literally the biggest reveal in all of Final Fantasy history. Now, as a Lalafell, this isn't really going to be a big surprise. Everyone knows that Lalafell are clairvoyant, so there was really no big surprise here. For the next part of the fight, I really just want to go over the individual mechanics without going over the order that they happen in, just so you kind of know how to deal with everything on its own and when he starts combining multiple mechanics together. As a Lalafell, I have the utmost confidence that you can do any mechanics perfectly, so this is really just more of a formality. One of the most important mechanics of this encounter that you're going to have to understand how to do is the cross boxes plus spread out mechanic. The cross boxes are a mechanic we've seen before in things like Seiryu and even previous Gilgamesh encounters. The thing that makes this one stand out apart from those is that at the end he's going to drop an AoE on every single player. And the middle of that AoE is going to be the safe spot. Now these AoEs can overlap, which causes you to very easily fail this mechanic. This is the number 1 reason we want the boss in the middle of the room. When the boss is in the middle of the room, it makes it a lot easier for all of the players to spread out evenly without overlapping. As a Lalafell, you're pretty much given priority anywhere you want in the room, so don't really worry about standing on non-Lalafells. They can just get out of the way. The next mechanic is Tiny Song. This mechanic doesn't apply to Lalafell at all. We're already tiny, and they can't really make us tinier. We're the perfect size the way we are, and people better stop telling us we need to get smaller. Like, we're small enough. Like, please, stop. Jim, or wait, was it Greg or Jim? Greg will start spawning wolf heads on the edges of the arena. You gotta watch out for where these spawn, because if they come up behind you, they'll spook you, and then you'll be shaking in your little Lalafellian boots. If you get hit by these wolf heads, then you're going to get a Vuln up stack, and we don't want that. I mean, it's not really scary, you're a Lalafell, you're impervious to dying, but there's going to be a safe spot in between the wolf heads, so just look for the safe spot and find your way there. You really want to be a good example for all the lesser races, so make sure you do this mechanic right, even if it doesn't apply to you. One of the things about these wolf heads is that after they make their way throughout the entire arena, Jim is going to throw arrows down from the sky as an AoE and just hit all of the Lalafell. I know, you shouldn't be hitting Lalafell, it's against the rules, but he hits the Lalafells, and this is the main reason why we're even fighting him, because he's not allowed to do that, but he does it anyways. This AoE is unavoidable, so just heal it up, and then take Greg down, because he is crossing the line. That's all the mechanics for the initial phase, and he's going to do this in the order of cross boxes and spread, Tiny Song, Wolf Heads, followed by the arrow AoEs of course. He's going to do Tiny Song again, cross boxes again, and then we're going to have a phase transition. This phase transition is going to start out with 2 AoE markers on the tanks. The best way is for each tank to run to one of the corners on the same side of the room, and the rest of the raid can just run away from them into the middle of the room. Now these AoE markers are going to split Jim, or it's going to split Greg into 2 different entities, and they're going to be embodiments. Now the thing about this damage is that it's really easy to mitigate and really easy to heal, but the adds, the embodiments that spawn as a part of your Jimbo, are going to be a reset on threat essentially. So if you don't get threat, then Jim is going to run over to the nearest Lalafell he can find and just whack him in the face. Now I know if you have a Lalafell tank, this is never going to be a problem. But if you get one of those bigger races, like, I don't really blame Greg for not wanting to be near them, but your Lalafells are in danger. Now as a Lalafell, you'll see that the Divine Epicness bar will spawn in this scenario. Now the Divine Epicness bar is a bar that fills up the more epic you become. And as a Lalafell, we know that we're always getting more and more epic every day. So you really want to just look at that bar and hopefully it will fill all the way up as you're killing the embodiments, but usually it does not fill all the way up because there's no limit to how epic a Lalafell can become. So if it does fill up, then you really probably need to do some self-reflection, reassess, like, how can I become more epic? How can I go above my limits? And I'm positive that you'll find the answer because Lalafell have no limits on how epic they can be. There's also going to be a giant Greg in Jim's clothing, just kind of floating in the middle of the arena on one side. We can pretty much ignore him, but he's got a really big sword, and big things intimidate me as a Lalafell, so I kind of just like to move my camera where I'm not facing him as much. The thing to remember here is that he's going to do those spread out circles without the cross boxes. So we really want to make sure that our raid isn't all clumped up on one ad. The ranged really need to make sure they're giving melee enough room to spread out. I think it would be a good idea if the tanks didn't tank in a corner, even though you ran to a corner for your AoEs, maybe shifting a little bit to the side away from the other tank, like in the middle-ish between 2 corners, would really make melee's life a little bit easier for spreading out for those circles. It also would make your life as a tank easier. Now once the embodiments are both dead and your epicness bar is not filled all the way so that your limits cannot be reached as a Lalafell, you're going to get a really big AoE from that big Greg in the sky. But don't worry, you can mitigate it and he will go away and you'll never have to think about him ever again, except in your nightmare. With this concludes the transitionary phase, and we'll be entering a whole new phase. Now, this phase starts with another tank-based AoE, but it's only on one tank this time, and the location that the tank is going to be really important. The tank needs to run towards one side of the room. You see, you're going to want to be right up at this wall where there's a line going through the middle of the room. This is where you want to drop the AoE. And this spot is very important because there's going to be purple orbs spawning throughout the entire room, and they're all going to do overlapping AoEs. The only safe spot is going to be where that tank dropped Gilgamesh. So you're going to want to run to the boss right away. Just get there. You gotta move. Your little legs have to take you. Run. Get there. And you're a Lalafell, so you can't really die. But you need to remember, you're setting an example for everyone else. You're gonna be the best Lalafell you can be. Now following those purple orbs, once you've safely dodged them, is gonna be End Chain. And we've seen this ability 4 on a previous gym encounter. But Enchain is going to target 3 players with these little red-black markers, and they need to spread out and they need to get away from Greg. If they're near Greg when they get chained, then those chains are going to take significantly less damage, and you have to break the chains to free your allies. Now, I really recommend that you only free Lalafels. Like, this is your chance. Let the big races die. We cannot save them. We don't need to. Just let the Lalafels live and you'll be good. From here on out, if you ever see Gilgamesh cast Mass Immune, then you know that the whole room is going to get an AoE soon. Because Mass Immune is Gilgamesh repositioning himself in a way where he is going to AoE the entire room except for one line. Now the way this works is he's going to Mass Immune from A to B, so you're going to want to get close to him, hug him, touch him, get close, and he's going to do a forward AoE through the entire middle of the room. Don't stand in this yet. Don't stand in this yet. So you're going to want to stand next to it, and then you'll get scared and your little Lalafell boots will start a-quaking because you'll see there's an AoE everywhere. There's no safe spot. Now the way we handle this is he'll start casting Epic Storm Splitter. Now you have to wait for the AoE in the middle to go away and then quickly move in so that the AoE on the outside of the room does not hit you. It's not going to be too difficult if you know it's coming, but just know that you have to be patient, don't get scared, keep your boots on, wait for the AoE to go away in the middle, move in, and then wait for the AoE on the outside to go away. You now know how to deal with every mechanic in this encounter. We've gone over the initial phase, the transitionary phase, and the Epic Storm Splitter phase. The only thing we have to do now is worry about combination of mechanics. From here on out, he's just going to do the same mechanics we already know, but he's going to do them in such an order that you'll have to deal with multiple mechanics very close to each other or at the same time. Right, starting off from the first time he does Mass Immune, he drops everyone's HP to 1, he does his Epic Storm Splitter, and we wait, and then we move in, and we survive it safely. He's going to do mechanics in this order. He's going to start off with the Wolf Heads, and the Wolf Heads are also going to spawn purple orbs at player locations. So you need to get through the safe spot of the Wolf Head and then immediately spread out away from that area so that you don't get hit by the purple orbs. Now remember that after you safely dodge the purple orbs is going to be the arrow AoEs, because the Wolf Heads are going to make their way downtown into the end of the arena, and that's what triggers the arrow AoE. So remember, for Wolf Heads plus purple orbs, go into the Wolf Heads, spread out for the purple orbs, survive the AoE from the arrows. He's going to follow this up with a crossbox spread circle AoE. So remember, you're going to have to dodge the crossbox and then spread out from other players in the AoE. If the tank repositions the boss into the middle of the room after the purple orbs, then it's going to be a lot easier for the Lalafell in the group to see the whole room and dodge away from other players for the circle AoEs. We don't want to get cramped in a corner from dodging the Wolf Heads, so be very careful. After we've successfully dodged the circles, we're going to get those Wolf Heads plus Tiny Song this time. So everyone needs to dodge into the same place of the Wolf Heads if they can, and if you can't, you need to dodge through the Wolf Heads and get to the boss as quickly as possible, because that Tiny Song is going to make any non-Lalafell really, really tiny. Following that up is going to be the arrow AoE, because remember, Wolf Heads will eventually lead to arrow AoE. Now once you've successfully survived the Wolf Heads and Tiny Song, please reposition the boss to the middle of the room, because we're going to get that crossbox and spread out AoEs again. We have this pattern of Wolf Heads, deal with Wolf Heads plus mechanic, reposition to middle of the room. It's a very nice pattern to follow as a tank. Around this time, we're going to be seeing that Mass Immune cast again, so get ready for the Epic Storm Splitter phase. Remember, be very patient. You're going to get Mass Immune, move to the boss, heal everyone up, and then be patient. You have to wait for the middle line to become safe before you move into it. But don't wait too long or you'll get hit by the outside AoEs. Following this up, you're going to get your Wolf Heads plus Purple Orbs combination once again. Remember, Wolf Heads, you're going to want to run through them and then spread out so that you're not standing in a bunch of purple orbs. And remember, the AoE is coming. Heal everyone up and have them shields before going into the wolf heads if you can healers. It's very important so that you have a higher chance of surviving this mechanic combination. For the rest of the encounter, you're just going to see the same things again. Crossbox and spread, wolf head's tiny song, arrow AoE, crossbox and spread, wolf head and purple orbs, arrow AoE, and the mass immune phase change. You're just going to be repeating these mechanics again and again in these exact combinations until you kill the boss. Remember that since this is a new fight, you may want to use healer LB to raise any of the big races that failed the mechanics. I recommend going in with Lalafell healers 100%. Lalafell tanks are also pretty important, so that's all I really have to say about Greg. Now, when you're working through Jim for the first time, you'll probably wipe a couple times because the big races are holding you back, but sometimes you can get those groups that just one-shot this on their very first try. But I wish you Lalafells all the luck. Keep your Lalafell boots on, keep them strapped in, and don't be quaking, don't get scared. You can do this, and remember, be the best Lalafell that you can be. Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to stay in touch and keep up to date with any new things that I may or may not create, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up or consider leaving a comment. You can follow me on Twitter, I post there pretty frequently if you're interested in that kind of thing. And if you want to say hi in game, feel free. But that's all I have for now. And until next time, later.